Hi, everyone. Happy August. We are thrilled that you're able to join us today after I know a crazy summer you've all had with summer reading. I hope everything's winding down and you're able to take a deep breath again. And here we are ready to start planning 2026. So we're so grateful that you were able to join us today for be a part of 2.50 million acts of science during America 250 and Citizen Science Month 2026. We'll get started in just another minute. In the meantime, in the chat, if you wouldn't mind sharing your name, your location, and what you're hoping to get out of today's webinar. And I'm going to launch a poll to help us get to know you better. So there's two questions to this poll. What best describes your role today? And the second question, if you scroll down, have you participated in Citizen Science Month in the past? It's lovely to see familiar faces and names. Greetings from Indiana. Hi, Amanda. How are ya? From, what's MI? Oh gosh, Michigan,
Michigan,
right? I hope.
I think.
From PA. I know PA. That's where I am. From North Carolina. Yes, Michigan.
Okay, good.
My brain was not working for a minute. Colorado, Virginia, New Jersey. Hi, everyone. We will introduce ourselves in a minute, but I'm Tara, and on the call with me are Emma and Claire, and you will hear where we're from in a moment. Great to see everybody.
Got 90% participation in
Great.
the polls, which is awesome. So
Awesome. And Jerry Lynn says, excited to learn about new science programming ideas, which is exactly what we're going to try to achieve together today. And okay, let me end the poll for now, although there's still people coming in, which is absolutely fine, and share the results. As suspected, most people here are librarians or library staff. There's some museum educator folks, which is great. Curious learners, welcome. And let's see, not 50-50, but most people have not participated in Citizen Science Month in the past, which actually I love because that means we'll hopefully get more people participating next year and reaching, new audiences, which is great. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So welcome, I'm Tara. I've been working with SciStarter for the last 4 years on their Citizen and Community Science Library Network, and I'm joined by my colleague, Emma. Hi, Emma.
hello.
And we are so grateful that Claire, our partner at STAR Net, is also here. Hi, Claire.
Everyone. Good to see everyone. Awesome to see that nearly 90% of you are from libraries. So yeah, at the STAR Library Network, we facilitate STEM learning in public and tribal libraries. So glad to have you join us today.
Yes, and Claire is going to tell you about some really exciting work that she's been doing with libraries and easy ways to integrate that into your programming. So who are we at SciStarter? Emma, go ahead.
Awesome. Oh, never mind. I thought I muted myself again. Hi, everyone. Okay, yes. So my name is Emma. I also want to mention I'm the director of Citizen Science Month. So given that you're here to learn about how you can take part in that, I'm excited to bring you into the fold and start telling you all about everything. So SciStarter, if you've never heard of it before, our essential mission is that we understand that there are millions of people out there who love science and nature. Maybe you love stargazing, maybe you love bugs. I know I love caterpillars. Maybe you just like video games. That's science. All of that counts. And so that's wonderful. But we don't always become scientists, right? We have many of us who just love science. But for those of us who are scientists, they often need help getting their research done. So thousands of scientists out there request help of the public to get their research either through gathering more observations from volunteers or having people help them categorize observations and learn simple steps and protocols to be able to do the project. And so we're the entity that connects them, one of several. So we work together with other folks to aggregate all these opportunities in one spot for you to use as basically a database search. And one of our main groups that we help support do this is libraries. So just in case you want to know why we count this as science, it is really real science. Citizen science has allowed us to find a lot of information, such as identifying 126 bird species as lost to science. We know that we've been able to identify ants that are invasive being spread by hitchhiking in cars. We've been able to identify the amount of bacteria in belly buttons from doing belly button swabs and sending them in. We've also found out that the sky has gotten brighter. Keeps getting it doubles in brightness every 8 years, and that's all from a project called Globe at Night that's still going on. So there's a lot we learn from doing citizen science. You can shift to the next slide. And if you're curious about learning more, of course, we recommend getting a SciStarter account, which is free, and I'll drop that in the chat for you as well. So we are, as a SciStarter entity, we build capacity for citizen science along with libraries especially. And so we work in 3 different giant building capacity methods. We have our citizen science at the library program, which is on the far right there. Oh, thanks for dropping that. Yeah, Claire just dropped the link for all the links, which would be more helpful than my independent ones. So we work with libraries to essentially bring in resources that are turnkey and materials that are just ready for you to use in the library. We also work across a library network, which we invite all of you to participate in if you're not already in it, to join 1,200 other libraries in 49 states. If any of you are in Hawaii, by the way, please join. We need that one for the 50th state. And so if you'd like to join, you don't have to be a librarian either. You don't have to be a library. You technically can be from anywhere and just want to know about those facilitator resources. So that's one of our building capacity programs. We also have the SciStarter Ambassador program, which is on the far left, which essentially it's new. It's about a year old, and we've trained 160 to 200 people on how to facilitate citizen science in their communities. And so we have resources, as in people, who are ready to advise you on your programs. And so those are all available to you through our directory that we'll share with you as well. And then the third piece, that centerpiece, is a big part of what we're talking about today. Yearly, we celebrate Citizen Science Month during April, but SciStarter has, in the last couple of years, made a goal for the number of acts of science. And what that means is that every citizen science act, every research piece of data that you're giving to a scientist, every categorized piece of research already created or already like in development, every piece of work that you do towards citizen science counts as an act of science. And we'll actually go farther into that to give you a better definition than that. But that is one of our bigger pieces of our work we do. And I'll go ahead and pass it on to, wow.
Sorry,
Good,
sorry.
I'll go ahead and pass it on to Tara, but I'm going to drop that library network link in the chat for you in a second here, because if you're not signed up for the library network, that is one of our #1 things that we request of you today, just so that you will know, thanks, Tara, you will know what comes out when it comes out.
Yes. And actually, I'm going to pass it to Claire just quickly because they also are capacity building programming. And Claire, tell us a little bit about what you all do.
Yeah, so the STAR Library Network is part of the Space Science Institute in Boulder, Colorado, and we're the little education component. We do focus specifically on libraries, but I wanted to share this resource that's great for any type of educator out there, specifically informal educators, but I have a teaching background, and if I had known about this resource back when I was teaching at a K-8 school as the STEM teacher, I could have used this a lot. So any field of education, I think this can be beneficial for. But this is our online STEM activity clearinghouse. It has over 500 hands-on STEM activities for pre-K through adult learners. And it's not just space science. We have a collection that's just about citizen science projects. We have earth science collections, all kinds of stuff. So I just wanted to share this. The link to access the clearinghouse is in that link bank that I put in the chat earlier. And I also included this specific link that goes to our citizen science collection. So it has, I think, 27 different projects from Globe Observer and from SciStarter's repository of projects. So just another resource for you to use when you're doing science with your communities.
Thanks, Claire. Okay, so what are we doing here today? Our common goal, both Claire and StarNet and Space Science Institute and SciStarter, as well as many of you here, are to help. Sorry, am I there? Was I frozen?
Yes, you're good. Sorry, keep going.
I'm so sorry. I'm just off on in my world of sharing our common goal. Okay. Am I good?
Yes.
Okay. Our common goal to connect people to more opportunities to do hands-on science. And we hope that you will join us in on this goal. And we're going to talk about how citizen science is really a strong approach to achieving this goal together. Okay. So the goals for today's webinar, first, are to discover easy ways to incorporate acts of science into your current programming. We're going to talk about some of those. Prepare you for what's coming up in April and in 2026 with America 250 and Citizen Science Month. And then hopefully you'll be able to see how to access the ongoing support and the resources to engage your communities in real world science. So we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive now into what Emma was referring to as acts of science. That's our way of talking about citizen science or participatory research, some of the other terms that you might have heard in the past. So how do we classify an act of science? An act of science is a real measurable contribution to ongoing scientific research, often called citizen science, as we mentioned, and it's open to anyone, anywhere. And it's in the sense that anyone can contribute to real scientific research, all ages, with families, doing things that you love in your hobbies. And there are so many different ways to do acts of science. We're going to go into some of those today. So what does this look like in action? Might be tracking bird migration and uploading your information to eBird. Might be counting pollinators and contributing that data to the Great Sunflower Project, reporting on street flooding, transcribing museum labels, measuring light pollution, as Emma said, through a project called Globe at Night. Every action helps scientists understand our world more, and citizen science and acts of science really rely on collective contributions to scientific research. And why do people get involved? Some join just to give back. Others are driven by curiosity, or the thrill of discovery. There have been discoveries made by everyday people, and that have been so amazing. They've even been allowed to name a new species, name new auroras. So it's really great. And some are get involved for their personal mission. So thinking about that and thinking about your audiences at your libraries, there are lots of reasons people get involved in citizen science and acts of science. So it's really important to sort of talk to them and help them understand what this is and why they might want to get involved. Okay, let's do a little bit of a quiz here. So thinking about that, this real contribution to scientific research through acts of science, which of these is considered an act of science? And let me launch the poll. Zoom changed the way polls are. Oh, I have to.
Oh no.
No, it's good. Okay, I have to stop sharing the one poll and then start sharing the other. Okay, here we go. Which of these is an act of science? Choose all that apply, although it went to single choice. There actually is more than one answer, but choose the one that you think is an act of science. There may be others. Put them in the chat. Is it taking a photo of a plant during a nature hike and uploading it to iNaturalist? Is it organizing a beach cleanup? Is it planting a pollinator garden to increase pollinator activity? Or is it, can't see my last slide, finding and reporting mosquito habitats to Globe Observer? Let's see. I'll give you all a minute.
Got some smarties on the line.
A and D, all of them. Let's see. Okay, let's end the poll and share the results. Sorry if you weren't able to participate. That's okay. We have a busy webinar. Yes, most of you were correct. So A and D in this case are considered acts of science by the definitions that we're going with. And so can someone in the chat tell me why organizing a beach cleanup on its own might not be considered an act of science that contributes to scientific research? No reporting method, no reporting, nothing reported, no data collection. Yay! Now, there are ways to turn this project into an act of science. There's lots of projects on SciStarter about litter where you can classify different litter and upload that information and share that information with scientists. So you can turn a beach cleanup into not just a service project, but also an act of science, which we love. And then what about the pollinators? Why isn't C in and of itself considered an act of science? It's not quantifiable. Right. Again, nothing will be reported. Right. Same thing, no reporting. Yes. So we love planting pollinator gardens. Pollinators are incredibly important, and there is lots of projects related to public data collection on this. But without contributing to one of those projects, it is again merely a way to help the environment, and which again we love. But then acts of science would be contributing that data to a project, as I mentioned, the Great Sunflower Project. So keeping that in mind, today we're talking about these acts of science that are real contribution to scientific research by the public. We're going to go into some ways that we have been noticing this happening. Okay. If you want to go deeper into these two, into this area, there's two great trainings. It's actually more than two, but these two are the ones that we recommend. They're online self-guided trainings. The first is the Foundations of Citizen Science tutorial to build your confidence and increase your engagement of SciStarter. And the other is the Libraries as Community Hubs for Citizen Science, which is specifically for libraries and designed to help you understand sort of the resources that we provide, the methods and the approaches to becoming a community hub for citizen science. Okay. Emma, go ahead.
All right, so now we're getting into more of the meat of why we're here today, and specifically because 2026 is going to be a pretty unique year. We're lucky enough to be in the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence being signed, and so it's a pretty big deal. If you've already heard some things about it, that's great. There's going to be a lot happening all year long. It's not just during April, although as a partner of America 250 and America Gives, which to back up a tiny bit, America Gives is the part of America 250 that is aiming for the largest volunteer effort in US history. SciStar is a partner in that. So we are a partner in your ability to do science as your volunteer activity. And so this whole year is all about celebrating creativity, innovation, civic participation. We want to look ahead to the future we want to create for ourselves and for our next generations. We want to also share America's history and story before and beyond signing the Declaration of Independence. And so there is a lot going to be happening this year. But we are aiming to have you join us in celebrating a very unique side of this, in which we understand that science has always been a part of our history, and that our founding fathers were actually citizen scientists too. In fact, before science was specialized in that we have labs, we have really intense technology, before all of that, we were all citizen scientists. We were all looking to observe our environments, to look to the stars, to observe everything, to understand our environment and to make decisions on agriculture, on how to take care of the farm life that we have, whatnot. And so because of that, we're also looking at this in terms of celebrating the founding fathers and those who came before and how they use science to actually make their lives better. And so we have opportunities to have you observe the environment. We even have transcribing of historical documents to understand what we did in the past. Those are all projects through the Smithsonian Institute, for example. We want to be able to look at America 250 and America Gives as the largest volunteer effort through the lens of doing citizen science. And so you'll start seeing things pop around, but our focus is going to be primarily on April because Citizen Science Month is April, and we've, for the last 2 years, put such an emphasis on getting the most amount of acts of science done during Citizen Science Month, and we're aiming for 2.5 million this year. So in the past, like last year, we actually overcame 3 million, so we know this is possible. But we're looking at, and that's global too, so that 2.5 we're looking at is looking more towards the US in general too. So We want to make it more impactful. For you to get more information about this, to know what's happening now, we have a website that you can visit that's on the link bank. But just know that we're going to be doing all the heavy lifting. So when it comes to April of 2026, that is going to be a process of us giving you all the information. We're going to give you some of the information now and the resources now, but we'll make sure that you're knowledgeable about how to make sure everything you do during April also counts towards America Gives. So everything you do with us, citizen science related and acts of science related, will automatically count towards America 250, which means you're just going to double your impact. So on the next slide here, this is a little bit more about how this works. So as SciStarter is aiming for that 2.5 million acts of science, we're going to be working with the public to get them the projects they need. We'll be working with project scientists to make sure that there are specific highlighted projects and making sure they get a lot of impact or get a lot of support from our volunteers. And then we have event facilitators like you who will be helping support to do programs and events related to America 250 and volunteering through acts of science. We do all the heavy lifting, as I mentioned before. All you're going to have to do essentially is to make sure your April events are added to SciStarter on our event database, and that you report back to us when the time comes. And we'll walk you through that when we get closer to the date. We're not going to overwhelm you with any additional information on that as now. But essentially, we've done this before. We've done this for 2 years in a row, passing 1 million acts of science. And so we know we can get there. And we really are excited for all of you to be a part of that, to make it an even bigger year. All right, I'm going to pass it back to Tara, although I want to say out loud, just in case anyone else is thinking it, we are going to add the slides they're added to the link bank, and we'll also share them tomorrow if there are any updates as well. Passing it back to Tara for a bit of quiz time.
Yes, and the recording of this session as well. Okay, another quick quiz called Acts of Science, Then and Now. We're going to focus on then, and this is just another way to show you how citizen science and acts of science can be easily connected to America 250, the celebration of our 250th, the 250th signing of the Declaration of Independence. Okay, let me go back. Poll. Okay, Founding Fathers poll. Here we go. Question 1. Which U.S. president kept daily weather records for nearly 50 years that he shared with others to help with plant cultivation? Was it A, Thomas Jefferson, B, Ben Franklin, C, James Madison, and D, John Adams? And I will tell you, one of the answers I put in there before was Alexander Hamilton, and then I was like, wait, he wasn't a president, so I had to check that out.
Nice.
I just always have Hamilton on my brain.
Makes sense.
As the Broadway
and people
nerd
are
that
able
I
to
am.
do both quizzes. So do you want
Oh, they're able to do both. Okay. Oh, great. Nice.
Mhm.
Okay. So question 2, which founding father observed the transit of Venus in 1769, which resulted in the first scientific publication by an American?
We have some very clear answers so far of our 76% who have participated. If you haven't yet, go for it. We're going to close it in like 5 seconds. So
Exactly. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, let's end the poll and share the results. It was supposed to tell you. Oh, there it goes. Yep, I was going to say, I was supposed to tell you the correct answer. Zoom has fun quizzes now that will tell you the answer. Okay. Yes, Thomas Jefferson was known for keeping very detailed information everywhere he went on the weather, which helped others as well. So that was a fun answer there. And yes, Ben Franklin observed the transit of Venus, and I'm in Philly, so we're really gearing up for America 250 here. Obviously, Ben Franklin is our local hero. Yeah, so this just goes to show you that people were engaging in acts of science, in scientific research, the public, before citizen science was ever coined. And we hope to make it easy to make these connections to America 250, to the founding fathers for you moving forward. So great job. I'm not surprised the librarians pulled this one out. All right. So now we're going to go through a couple of examples from our library network and from our partners who have been doing citizen science in their organizations over the past couple of years through our library network. This is just to show you that you do not have to start from scratch. we have a lot of turnkey resources to help you. And here are some ways others have done it. So our partners at Montana State University this spring held a pollinator event where they helped people go out and collect different pollinators and log that information into the Great Sunflower Project and iNaturalist. They hosted some tabling events. As you see here in this picture, there's lots of things on our website, from ongoing displays and book lists to posters and other very turnkey materials that you can use to create a display, which is one of the very simple ways that you can help this, from now until Citizen Science Month and beyond. Our partners at the Edelman Fossil Park Museum in New Jersey, which is a brand new space, they host something called Citizen Science Sundays, where they invite people to take nature hikes. They have a beautiful preserve, and so they invite people to take nature hikes, and they help them get to know different projects to participate in, like Bud Burst or iNaturalist or the Great Sunflower Project, and lots of other projects that are on SciStarter. And so they help curate those and then host Citizen Science Sundays. It's just a way of adding on scientific data collection during something that they'd already be doing through these nature hikes. At the Burton Bar Central Library in Arizona, recently held an Introduction to Citizen Science workshop using turnkey slides that we have on the website that you can download and customize, that goes through similar to what we just did today, sort of what are acts of science, what counts, how do you get involved, how do you make a SciStarter account. And then many libraries are also building citizen science kits with specialized tools. As you see the picture on the top left here is an Exploring Biodiversity kit, which has an activity guide that you can print that helps people understand how to download the iNaturalist app. And it comes with some, this kit. So we have do-it-yourself kit building guides that provide you with all the materials to build kits yourself. And some of the materials that we recommend for this are lenses that you can put on smartphones that takes really up-close pictures, binoculars, and other things. And libraries are putting these kits into circulation. We've seen a lot of success across our network with citizen science kits. So to learn more about any of these resources, you can go to scistarter.org/library, and we're going to be continuing to show you easy ways to integrate citizen science into your programming through the fall as we gear up for Citizen Science Month. Oh, here's all the resources. So everything from promotional toolkits, flyers, posters, all the trainings are free. We encourage your patrons to also complete the trainings. You just need a SciStarter account, program planning guides. Emma, do you want to tell us a little bit about the calendar?
Yeah, sure. So every April, I build a graphical calendar that focuses in on a project a day, events throughout the month that we're hosting as SciStarter and for the nation and also globally. And so this is an example built off of last year's example, but I added the Uncle Sam bot to the bottom there to make it more oriented towards that America 250. So you'll start seeing a lot more resources come out like this calendar that'll be ready months in advance for you to plan around doing events with us as well.
And Emma's going to now take you through a plug and play activity and event program that we're designing for Citizen Science Month this year, which we are going to be doing the heavy lifting on and just encouraging you to participate in at your library. So, one additional resource I wanted to mention, which there's lots of ambassadors on the call today. So shout out to our SciStarter ambassadors. So as Emma mentioned, last summer, we launched the SciStarter Ambassador Program, which what is to onboard a cohort of what we're calling certified ambassadors, similar to the NASA amateur astronomer program.
Solar ambassadors.
So NASA Solar Ambassadors.
Solar ambassadors.
Thank you, Emma. So all the ambassadors on this website, on SciStarter Ambassador page, this directory, they're all third-party screened by SciStarter. They've completed the training, they've been onboarded, they know how to use the resources, and this program is designed for you to be able to reach out to ambassadors in your area for programming advice and support around citizen science. So we encourage you to go on and look on this database and see who's near you, and many of them are librarians, so even if they're not near you, if you have a question, this is the network to tap into. So we really encourage you to go here and use this resource. That's what it's been designed to do. And shout out to our amazing ambassadors. Okay, Emma,
Yeah.
take us through Acts of Science Connected, a new programming opportunity in April.
Yeah, absolutely. So the calendar, as I mentioned before, we've been so happy with how that's turned out, and we want to do all the heavy lifting for you. And so a lot of what we want to do is also give you opportunities to participate in events that are already planned for you, or at least like organized for you. And so in order to do that, and I just dropped that directory link for you. Oh, just kidding. Thank you. Why do I keep trying to multitask? Okay, so in order to make that happen, we developed a program called Access Science Connected, which is about being in many places. It's one purpose: access to advanced science. And so on the next slide, we will be hosting 4 weekly global events in April. Right now, they're scheduled for Saturdays, except for also Earth Day, which I believe is a Wednesday this year. I'm not positive. We'll be planning 4 events in which you can essentially host a real-time event in your library or community location where you can bring people in to just participate in the event that's already organized for you. We'll do all the heavy lifting. All we need you to do is to provide the space for people to be there and log into Zoom to join us. And so this is kind of a play on the idea, if you've heard of a watch party in the past. It's a version of a watch party, but it's a big national one in which we'll be bringing in 4 different projects, including one that'll be a health project. So that's a sneak peek to one. And then while you're taking part in that, we know that it takes time to organize these types of things. And so over the next few months, we'll be organizing a set of events once per month in which you'll get a sneak peek to the project and also facilitation support for each individual project. So by next month, we'll have a schedule of which ones are being done in April, and we'll be doing an event each month to introduce you to that project leader and get you the opportunity to ask the questions that you need before planning said event. So we expect you all to kind of take your own unique, like creative fit to this. You can design any kind of event you want and just hop into our Zoom call as a part of it. You could make people wear weird hats. I don't know. It just kind of depends on what you would like to do in your community location. So as a part of that, we're also motivated and inspired by this happening in the past, where we had libraries host an event where we zoomed into a stall catchers megathon. If you're not familiar, this is an Alzheimer's research project. Awesome, I'm seeing a little bit of familiarity in the chat with stall catchers. Where people were working on basically a video game where they were doing one simple task repeatedly, and they were able to complete 3.5 months of lab research time in one weekend. So across one weekend, it was a lot of research. So I have a little screen on the side where you can see a little bit more about what that means. It was 2,566 research hours, over 116,000 movies were reviewed as a part of it. It was a really big deal. And so we want to make that happen on a scale that is worthy of America 250, and being the largest volunteer effort. And so stay tuned for more about that, but you can also already sign up for the first September prep call for it. So I'll drop that link in the chat for you. So that'll take you straight to the Zoom for it. And once you sign up there, you'll be signed up for all of them. So you can drop in whenever you'd like to. And I'll make sure it's updated with the actual projects as well. Once we're in the middle of interviewing them. So you'll hear about it soon. Awesome. I think that's it for that. If you want to scooch forward. Awesome. We're also going to highlight a specific project. So I'm going to turn it over to Claire again to give a bit of a spotlight to Cocoa Roz, which many of you may be already familiar with. Claire, go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Emma. So I want to talk with you about a really cool project that StarNet has worked with on several of our projects. So Cocoa Roz is the Community Collaborative Rain and Hail and Snow Network. Yes, awesome. I see Amanda is familiar with it. We would love, if anyone else is familiar with Cocoa Roz, just go ahead and put like a yes in the chat. But this is a really fun, easy project to get involved with. They truly are, crowdsourcing participation data from around the country. It started in 1997 when a flash flood hit Fort Collins, Colorado, which is where one of our colleagues from Cocoa Roz is stationed. And it was one of those events where you could really just see this phenomenon. I'm sure you all have experienced this before, but how weather can be precipitation weather in particular can be so different, even just across the street. So it can be pouring rain where you are and you look across and it's sunny in your neighbor's yard. At least that's something that happens a lot out here in Colorado and across the Midwest. And so in this event, there was this horrific flash flood that occurred that took people's lives on one part of Fort Collins, and on, you know, just a few blocks away, there was barely any precipitation. So this was just a really, you know, just eye-opening event. And so community members of all ages, of all backgrounds, wanted to be a part of seeing if they could do something about it. So they started, they got rain gauges that were approved by the National Weather Service, and people just started putting them up in their backyards, taking measurements, and contributing data about precipitation in Fort Collins. And this is really spread across the whole country, and anyone, anywhere in the country can be a part of it. So on the next slide, this is an interactive map that you can check out on CocoRa's just main homepage. If you go there, I just took a screenshot of it yesterday. It was my birthday yesterday, so I was like, oh, what's it looking like with precipitation across the country? And you know, it's really cool. Every single dot is a registered rain gauge. And it is updated in real time. You know, every few seconds, you know, this map can change. But you can really see concentrations of where you're getting a lot of precipitation, where you're getting not a lot. And even those little dots for that say 0, that's still incredibly important data, especially for drought scientists that are trying to monitor, you know, where rainfall is occurring and where it is not. So even if you live in a dry environment, and you go out and you make it part of your routine, and you go out and you're sipping your coffee and you check your rain gauge and you're like, nope, it's dry again today. Still, you know, log onto your account, takes 5 minutes, input that data. All of this data is important. And scientists could not collect all of this data without without people across the country doing this as often as they can. So on the next slide, there is a guide that has been put together for facilitators to incorporate this into their programming, beyond, you know, just collecting the data, but how can you integrate activities? How can you make precipitation interesting, you know, to young kids? There's really fun activities like covering, like when you know a storm is coming and it's the summertime and you might get hail, you can take styrofoam and cover it with tin foil and put it outside. And then after the hailstorm goes by, you can measure, you know, how big those the hail was coming down. But if you want to actually be contributing data to the CocoRa's network, again, it's really simple. It's really easy to handle, low cost equipment. I will say the one caveat is you must use their rain gauge. We want to make sure that all of the data that's collected is usable for the National Weather Service and all kinds of other organizations that use this data. So even things like if you have a digital rain gauge, that still doesn't quite measure the precipitation to the levels in which scientists can actually use that data. But you can get access to and information on how to get one of these rain gauges on the CocoRa's website. They can kind of walk you through how to get that. They do often have giveaways or grants so that you can, if you don't have the funds to purchase it yourself. But that's just the one thing I want to say, like you do have to use that specific rain gauge that they provide. I have one. My mother-in-law just randomly got one a few years ago, not even knowing that I work with CocoRa's, and was like, here, you like science and things. And so I have it set out, you know, right in my front yard. So yeah, super easy to use and just, yeah, really interesting and a lot of fun. I do want to say, let's see. Before we move on to the next slide, I just want to say also CocoRa's, beyond just, you know, collecting data for scientists to use, they also put together all kinds of incredible education materials for climate literacy. So in that link bank under CocoRa's, there's a link that goes directly to climate literacy. And this is great for homeschool groups. If you have field trips, families coming in to learn together, there's all kinds of different activities that you can use alongside with collecting this data if you want to turn it into a full program. All right, and on the next slide, it's really easy. I said 5 easy steps. There's actually 6 there. But to become a part of the CocoRa's network, just visit their page through SciStarter, read through the basics, click visit to sign up at cocoras.org. You can obtain a rain gauge. They will mail it to you. The information is all on the website. view the training slideshow or attend a training session. If there's one near you, it'll be advertised, throughout your listservs. And live trainings, especially from Noah, our colleague, are phenomenal. But if you can't join it live, there's a whole training slideshow for you to learn where's the best place to set up the rain gauge, how to take the measurements. They'll give you tips like they prefer you to take the measurement at the same time every day, preferably in the morning. So just things like that are part of the training. Set up the gauge in a good location, and then you just start observing precipitation and report online. Again, daily is optimal. If it's just weekly, with your weekly teen advisory board, that's fine too. They will take any data that you're able to give. But yeah, like I said, it can take 5 minutes. Do it with your morning cup of coffee when you get to the library. Just build it into your routine, and you can really be helping the CocoRoz network. And before we move on, Emma, is there anything you wanted to add about the facilitator guide, or Tara?
Well, I will just say that Noah recently provided us with a sign that you can add to your rain gauge that does encourage the public to also contribute that information, and doesn't just have to be one person logging that data. So it could be an interactive thing that your patrons engage with as well.
I
Emma,
will admit
anything?
to being the person who
Okay.
added the 6th item. Sorry, Claire. So that's all I will admit.
I was like, 5 easy steps, but there's 6 here now.
My bad. Sorry.
No worries. There are 6 easy steps. Awesome. So moving on to the next slide, I wanted to talk a little bit about We Are Water, because CocoRoz is one of our partners in this project. This is an NSF funded project that I'm one of the PIs for. We've been doing since 2020, which is all about water in the Four Corners region and bringing in Indigenous ways of knowing. Because I know we're here to, prepare us for 250, but this land and people have been here long before then, and we do have all kinds of ways of knowing that make this country what it is. And so We Are Water is all about connecting communities through diverse sharing diverse ways of knowing. So on the next slide, just want to give a shout out to the partners on this project. It's a collaboration between scientists, Indigenous science educators, learning researchers, informal educators, and library staff. So again, you can see CocoRoz's little raindrop down there is one of our amazing partners. And I'm going to be sharing with you some of the resources that you can just download for free, and then include in the citizen science projects, or participatory science projects that you're going to be doing with your community. So on the next slide, just another shout out. The activities that I'm going to be sharing, and the specific one called Be a Water Historian was co-developed between all of these people. We had it translated into Spanish. We also have it translated into Navajo from Vicky Tomas and Lorraine Rede. And these are all of our library partners that have been, instrumental in exploring water with us through this project. It did include a 4-piece library exhibit. The exhibit is now off tour. It is located now at a semi-permanent home at the Powerhouse Museum in Durango, Colorado. So if you find yourself there, check it out. It's really fun. There are 4 different pieces meant to engage multi-generational audiences. So you can see this little guy here playing Connect 4 and learning about ecosystems. And then you have, an AR sand table down at the bottom left. It's really fun, interactive, with materials in English, Spanish, Navajo, and Ute where applicable. So yeah, check it out at the Powerhouse Museum in Durango. Thanks, Liz, one of our hosts. And so here's, you won't be able to get the exhibit. It is off tour. We're running out of our funding. You know where we're at right now. But we have these learning resources available for free to download that you can turn into take and make kits. So there's a Be a Water Detective, where you have pH strips and you're testing different water quality, different sources for their water quality. Be a Water Ecosystem Hero, which is a collaborative game all about the importance that pollinators play in our water systems. And the importance that native plants have for that ecosystem. Be a Water Historian, and then Waffle Gardens, which is a really, interactive way to learn about indigenous ways of farming and growing food in arid environments. So they're techniques that were developed thousands of years ago and are still being used today. But the one I want to really talk with you about that I think can connect very well with America 250 is on the next slide, and that is be a water historian. So this is a really fun, simple activity. We've had schools use it quite often, but it's just a way for kids, specifically 13 and up, to learn how to interview and record stories. So there are the activity guide and the card prompts are available in English, Spanish, and Navajo. And on the next slide, it just shows a little bit more about what the kids would be doing. So it has, the simple materials. You just need a pen or a pencil to write down your questions. The activity guide comes with a brainstorm your interview guide. So it's really preparing kids on how to use a warm-up question, like how to really ask open-ended questions, how to, be respectful when somebody says, I don't want to share that information, it has all these guides on just becoming a thoughtful interviewer, how to select a family, friend, or community member to interview, and then how to actually record it. So there's so many different ways the kids can write it down on these cards that are provided. They can use a smartphone, tablet, or computer to record audio. And then there's a way, if you want, that's optional, to share these stories back to the We Are Water team. And it will actually go on that exhibit with permission from the person being interviewed and the interviewer, but we will add it to the exhibit in the Powerhouse Museum in Durango. So it's a really fun way if you want to share that and become part of this collection of learning about people's histories. It's just a really great activity. So I think that might be the last slide. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. We Are Water has been one of my favorite projects to work on, and I hope you can find a way to integrate it into your America 250. So I will pass it back over to Tara.
Thank you. We are shockingly good on time, Claire. I say that because whenever Claire, Emma, and I do a webinar together, we are always running up to the very end because we have so much information to share. So we will have time for questions in just a moment. But let me just review some next steps for you all. So just, after today, we encourage you to join SciStarter. If you haven't, you can make a free account and sign up for that library network so that you can get our monthly newsletter and all of the upcoming, communications around Citizen Science Month and America 250. Take that Foundations of Citizen Science tutorial if you haven't. It takes about an hour and you get a badge that you can add to your LinkedIn, as well as the library training. And then participate in upcoming calls, which Emma put a link to before, but it's all going to be in the link bank information for upcoming webinars. In the meantime, just looking towards April, here's sort of how we've been imagining April and, July 4th. Here's how we've been imagining the flow going as far as your development of programs and thinking about how to make an impact at your library. Spend this fall listening and brainstorming. There's a lot of great resources on community listening sessions. We should put the link to the community listening sessions in the blog post. Hear what topics are interesting and important to your community, and then you can go on SciStarter or on STAR Net and look those up and curate your programming based on what your community cares about. And we also have some really fun posters on SciStarter that you can put up that sort of just says, like, what do you care about? What do you think citizen science is all about? And it's like an interactive poster that you can put out. This winter, we're going to be helping you train and prepare through our series of calls and webinars. And we have lots of planning tools as well. And then in April, we're going to act and get our acts of science in to reach 2.50. I know we can do it together. And then in the summer, we'll be celebrating. And it's going to be a fun time, especially, like I said, in Philadelphia. It's going to be really fun, but I know all over the country as well. Our next event that we encourage you to sign up for as far as big picture citizen science planning goes is this October event, Make Your Acts of Science Count, which will be going over maybe even more logistical information on how to become and make sure your acts are counted during Citizen Science Month. But yeah, in our last 10 minutes, are there any questions that you have or ideas that come to mind? And actually, I'm just going to throw up one more poll that I have. One moment.
And I just added to the chat too. If you have programming plans, like I see some of you talking about your ideas percolating, if there's anything that comes to mind, feel free to drop it in the chat because your brainstorming helps others. And we can also put those on our website as ideas that are coming to mind to support those who come across us or those who look at this later, because it's very helpful to see examples.
Great. And my last poll here is, how likely are you to plan a Citizen Science Month or America 250 program?
Awesome.
And then,
I'm
yeah,
liking the answers already.
yeah, I know, I love it, loving that. And any questions? Oh, 100% answered. Feel free to unmute as well.
I'd like to do a once a month citizen science led or based program for my library for 2026. Awesome. Yeah, and they can be very monthly oriented too. So like, I mean, a spring is an obvious one, or at least in my mind it is. It's not actually obvious, but springtime being where we can look at phenology of plants and such. That's a really nice way to do it. But every month can have an absolute like specific theme too. I've heard citizen science and community science is their pros. That's a great question, Liz. So terminology, we highlight especially acts of science as a way to kind of remove the barrier of like learning the terminology. But to be frank, like there are a lot of words used to describe these acts of science. We've heard participatory science, citizen science, community science, neighborhood science,
Crowdsourced.
participatory research. What was that? Sorry.
Crowdsourced.
Crowdsourced research, crowdsourced science. Yeah, there's a ton. Whatever works best for your community is what you should use. So if you have certain concerns about different types of language, just know that you can choose whichever one you'd like. I will note community science is often relating to, it's very based on the community being the beginning of the program. And so I mention this only because it often comes, or we often associate it with environmental justice movements where it starts with the community as instead of a science project already existing. So just be aware of that if you choose to use community science, so that you know where the background comes from too. But all of them are great words. All of them are great terminology. We use a lot of them interchangeably. So up to you.
Yeah, and Janine had a great question. With all the projects, can you give tips for how to hone down to what library customers and we are most interested in? It's difficult because people come to citizen science for lots of different reasons and interests. I would say, look to the types of programming that's already happening in your community. Do you have master gardeners? Do you have amateur astronomy groups? What are some of the local environmental issues that are impacting your community members? And then on that SciStarter searchable project database, you can go and you can actually search. It's a very interactive project finder where you can search by age group. You can search by location and find projects that are very local to your community. You can search by themes, interests. Yeah, so thank you, Claire, put the project finder. And so we encourage you to just do some listening and some scoping out. We have some resources as well. There is a survey that we have developed to help garner or help libraries garner interest and find out what is important to their community. But that project finder is a great way to sift through which projects are might resonate best. And then we all often recommend starting with some of the ones that are have the easiest or like lowest barrier of entry, like the Great Sunflower Project, where you're counting pollinators. It's sort of getting into the habit of contributing acts of science, sort of understanding that this is not just your average STEM project, especially for youth, right? Because it does involve real scientific data collection. So there are some lower barrier projects. The SciStarter affiliate page is a great place to look as well for projects, because these are projects that are that we work most closely with and have really great resources for educators.
I just want to add to that too. In preparation for April of 2026, we will have featured projects set up. Many of them, if not all of them, will be SciStarter affiliates, primarily because that's part of why we're doing the heavy lifting of being able to, we have a relationship with these projects where we can count all the acts of science happening, which will be a big deal in terms of giving it to America 250 for the America Gives volunteer effort. So we'll have a set of projects that you can kind of shortlist first as like pretty accessible projects. And then you could choose around them. So you can look forward to that being available soon
Well,
too.
And Emma puts out a monthly calendar, even outside
very
of
true.
April. And so, Emma, do you want to drop the calendar link in the chat? The calendar is always
Sure.
a good place to look. Emma like ties back projects to other events and programming that are happening, like Earth Day, for example, in April. But throughout the year, there's National Dog Day. There's lots of these national days that we can always find a SciStarter project or a citizen science project to connect them to. So there's World Water Monitoring Day. Who knew? On the 18th
Yeah.
of September.
This is September. Sorry, let me go back to.
No, that's good. I
August.
think September is
Yeah.
good, but so that's a good place to look if you're sort of overwhelmed with what project should I start with. We have resources to help narrow down and hone in on projects. These are great questions. Keep them coming.
I'm adding that calendar link to the blog.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you. I'll do the same.
Great resource.
It also demonstrates Emma's great abilities in Canva.
My graphic design has definitely improved since joining SciStarter. Yeah, and if you do want to print your own or even edit your own, you can. So you can look at this one. If you want an editable version, like to add your own branding and such, you can just paste it straight on top, or you can reach out. We haven't had a template use for a while, but we can always add that too. But I'm glad it's useful for folks. It seems like a good resource since we've had it. Awesome. Oh, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the screen share and see all of you now. For sessions. I use the project finder for sessions. I love the variety. I am curious about what you mean by sessions for that, unless that was already addressed. Out of curiosity.
Maybe learning sessions, workshops.
Yeah, if any of you do like even so we always recommend you do projects just to like test them out too. But if any of you do like after school programming or do online activities, we have a ton of projects that are fully online that you can just do together. One of which is Stall Catchers as an example, which is the Alzheimer's research project, where it's like perfect for like an after school group that just needs to be occupied, and it's really productive, and they're actually helping a really big problem is finding treatments for Alzheimer's disease. So there are a lot of resources you can find.
There's some other
and
great
variety.
ones too. Nature related trap camera, identifying
Mhm.
wildlife on trap cameras. I love that one. All around the world. So that's another great one.
Totally. All right. Thank you all for being here. This summer, I used online citizen science projects for community service sessions for teens. Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
That's great.
Which projects did you do, Janine? There he is. Doll catcher is nice. It's so nice to not be to actually have time for questions. I've never had
I
this
know.
experience. Or we have, but it's been a while. Some for my naturals. Yeah, even if you have to be online for something, like if it's in the dead of winter and it's snowing outside, you can still use iNaturalist and go online and help identify the little creatures that are on there too, which is pretty great. So lots of options. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Sweet.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you at our next webinar. And we'll share out all of these resources in an email tomorrow in case you missed anything. We appreciate you all. Thank you.
Cool. I'll go ahead and stop the recording while we're here.